the KMNN studios, this is the Kids Morning News Network.
Good morning, friends. It's August 5th, 2024, the 99th episode of the Kids Morning News Network. And, like I have been for 98 earlier episodes, I'm Alex in the KMNN studio in New York. Happy National Oyster Day. You know oysters, slippery little bivalves that make pearls. There's a famous saying, he was a bold man that first ate an oyster. Oysters are one of those foods I think that some people really like and some people won't touch. You don't hear a whole lot of kids who say, oysters, they're fine. Sometimes they're eaten raw, but oysters are also used in soups and stews. They're fried. They even get added to Thanksgiving stuffing. They're actually an ancient food in places all around the world. Piles of old oyster shells, those are called middens, have been found in Europe, North America, Asia, Australia. Some of them are 10,000 years old. Oysters used to be everywhere. Unfortunately, pollution and overharvesting have turned oysters from a common food into something pretty rare. But there are people trying to bring oysters back for reasons other than food. Big oyster beds, like the ones that used to exist all over the place, are being raised to help clean the oceans and even help cities protect themselves from the effects of rising sea levels. Well, I'm one of those people who really like oysters. I even liked them as a kid, so I mean it when I say, have a delicious oyster day. It's been a busy weekend for Team USA at the Paris Olympics. The athletes now have won a total of 71 medals, including 19 golds. Over the weekend, they racked them up in track, swimming, golf, shooting, gymnastics, among other sports. In cycling, Team USA rider Kristen Faulkner won the gold medal in the road race, which is a 98-mile ride. What's kind of amazing is that she'd never ridden a racing bike until 2017. I mean, she's pretty good at it. She's on the Olympic track cycling team also. She wasn't even supposed to be riding in the road race, but her teammate dropped out just before the Olympics began. So Kristen stepped in and won. Congratulations, Kristen Faulkner and all the athletes at the Summer Olympics. I'll have another update on Wednesday. Scientists say they have found an incredible way that they may, in the future, be able to treat some brain diseases thanks to cat poo. Yes, cat poo. There's a parasite that lives in cat poo that can travel from the digestive system, that's your stomach and your intestines, into the brain of many animals, including people. Now, some brain diseases are caused by proteins in the brain that don't work correctly. So scientists tweaked this parasite to carry a protein that could help treat them. They could fix the proteins that weren't working right. And when they tried this in mice, it worked. The parasite got into the mouse digestive system and then worked its way up to the mouse brain with its fixed protein. So this parasite that has sometimes made people sick is now, thanks to science, being turned into possibly a cure for disease. Pretty amazing. And thanks for your contribution, cats. Time for the riddle. Friday's riddle was, until I am measured, I am not known, yet how you miss me when I have flown. What am I? It's time. Okay, today's riddle. I can run but never walk. I have a mouth but never talk. I have a head but never weep. I have a bed but never sleep. What am I? And let me say that again. I can run but never walk. I have a mouth, but never talk. I have a head, but never weep. I have a bed, but never sleep. What am I? I'll give you the answer on Wednesday, so make sure you follow or subscribe to the Kids Morning News Network on your podcast app so you don't miss it. Imagine a world where the only way to talk to somebody was with a letter. And if you wanted to talk to someone in a different country, you had to wait for a ship to take that letter across the ocean and then back again, because this is before planes. So it would take weeks for you to hear back. Can you imagine texting someone if it took weeks to get a reply? Well, back in the 1850s, no one had texts or telephones, but they did have telegraphs. Dot. So they could send messages quickly, except across the ocean. Well, and just like today, people were getting impatient when they couldn't send their messages right away. A New York businessman named Cyrus Field didn't know much about telegraphs or cables under the ocean, but he realized what a good thing it would be to have a telegraph cable across the Atlantic. So he started talking to people who knew more than he did, and by 1857, he had a company that was ready to lay the cable. This wasn't like a little extension cord like you might have around your house. No, this was a big, heavy wire. It had copper wires in the middle to carry the telegraph signal, then a coating like rubber to make it waterproof, then another coating of rope with tar on it to make it tougher, and then finally a whole covering of steel wire to protect it all. Thousands of miles of this wire were made and loaded onto big rolls, which were put on ships. They began to lay it across the Atlantic Ocean today, August 5th, 1857. It wasn't easy. The biggest problem was that the cable broke, and broke again and again. Well, eventually they just gave up for the year. Over the winter, they built some new machines, and in 1858, they tried again. The cable was so heavy it threatened to sink the ships. And there were some more problems with the cable breaking. But, coincidentally, again on August 5th, a year after the first try, the cable made it to land, running between Ireland and Canada. After they tested it out, the first message they sent across the ocean was from Queen Victoria in England to President Buchanan in America. It was a huge event. There were parades being held to celebrate, and it was an incredible achievement. But unfortunately, the cable only lasted until September, and then it failed for good. But because they were able to lay this cable across the ocean, things would never be the same. A new cable was already in the works, and the world got a little closer together. It looks like it could be stormy in the southeast today, especially around Florida. You might also see some rain if you're in the northeast or the northern Great Plains. And looks like it'll be pretty clear everywhere else. That's the show. Thank you very much for listening this Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to the Kids Morning News Network on your podcast player so you don't miss an episode. Episode 100 is coming up this week on Wednesday. From the KMNN Newsroom, this is Alex, signing off.